My name is Blair Callaway. I grew up in Ringgold, Georgia. I started playing piano at a very young age. My sister was 10 years older than me, and she took lessons, and she would sit down and play through her lesson, and then I would sit down after her and play through her lesson, and it used to just really make her very, very mad because I didn't really know what she was playing. I finally got to take lessons. I begged for years, and the teacher there in town wouldn't start us until a certain age. So I think I was 8 or 9. I started taking lessons from the church pianist, and took from her for 2 or 3 years. And at that point, I was lucky enough to be close to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I started taking lessons up at the Shoddy Conservatory of Music at UTC. And I continued there all the way through high school. And it was really a good experience for me because it being a conservatory, they also taught music theory along with your piano lessons. So I would have my piano lesson with my teacher, and then I would go out. It was actually in an old house in downtown Chattanooga. I would go out to the carriage house, and we would have music theory classes. And that probably got me started in as far as thinking about music education more than anything, just learning the ins and outs of what I was playing during the piano lessons. I joined band because that was just always very important to me, and I don't know, I just wanted to be a part of that. I played trombone in the band and went all the way through high school doing piano in band. Sometimes there was some conflicts of interest, and I think just being a normal teenager, some years I did better at piano than other years. The interest kind of goes in and out when you go through those teenage years, or it did for me, maybe not for everyone. I studied 1 year at UTC after high school, and then I wanted to go somewhere else and do something else. I had done music all my life. I actually started playing in church when I was in junior high, and I played for my first wedding, I think when I was in the 7th grade. So it had always been something I had been doing, and just making a little extra money on the side for weddings and church all the way through my growing up years. But I decided I wanted to do something else, so I came to Jacksonville and became a business major, and got my accounting degree. Then I got out working, and it was a job, and it paid well, but it just wasn't fulfilling. And I kept going back to my piano and playing, and it just finally, I realized I wanted to go back and get my education degree and be a musician and teach music for the rest of my life. So I came back to Jacksonville. It was very fortunate that the year I came back to Jacksonville, they were starting, or I think they had already started the show choir, but they had hired another teacher, and they were coming in, and I got a piano scholarship playing for the show choir here at Jacksonville State. The next best thing that happened to me was getting here and having Ann Surace as my piano teacher. I really feel like she shaped the rest of my life musically. I love her, and I still correspond sometimes with her through Facebook, and it's really nice to hear back from her. But she was so musical, and that's the way I feel like I play now, and that's the way I teach, and a lot of that comes from her, and also from the band directors I've had in my teaching career also, or my high school career and college career, sorry. But Miss Race, you would go into her room, and she always had coffee. Always. Never one single time I went into her studio and there wasn't coffee there. So if it was a particularly bad day, sometimes it was just a coffee day, and she would talk me through it, and it was, I don't know, I liked her style and the way she taught. There were some very cool moments in her studio. There were a couple of days where I think maybe I was getting ready for my senior recital. Sometimes you have those musical moments that are not during a performance. So we were just sitting there, and I played through a piece, and she turned and looked at me, and her comment was, "You probably didn't want me to know that about you, did you?" And it really kind of freaked me out. But then the more I thought of it, I feel like for us to get to the true meaning of what we're playing, we have to give up a little bit of ourselves and let people look into our souls And that still resonates with me today as I'm teaching band. Sometimes we get to that moment, or I've looked at my students. I never really said it out loud. I alluded to the fact, but I was like, you guys shared something with me of yourself. And that's the power of music. And it's what keeps me coming back and doing it over and over and over again. So I was a piano major here, but I did music education. I was lucky enough to do a double certification in choir and instrumental. So I did vocal and instrumental here at Jacksonville. I actually student taught in, vocal at Emma Sansom High School with Paul Edmondson. And it was a great experience, but I knew still that band was what I was wanting to do. The piano part was great for me because I was able to look at a score and see things that I might not be able to see if I was just reading like the trumpet part or a clarinet part or something like that. I was able to see all the parts, and it was it was also great to be able to sit down and play all the parts, and you could go through it. Had keyboard harmony with Dr. Parker, and we had to play open scores in that class, and so another thing that helped me so much as a music educator. But I do think people sometimes comment, well, you were a piano major, but then you did band. But I don't regret that at all. I think it made me a better teacher, and I think it makes you a better musician no matter what field you go into, and I wouldn't give that up for anything. I would like to say also in high school, I had Dr. Gordon as my high school band director, and we did a year of theory in high school. So when I got to Jacksonville, I was ready for theory, and I really enjoyed it. I had great teachers here. The piano faculty here was amazing. I enjoyed working with all of them in some sort through classes, with Mr. Race being my actual private teacher. But I can't. The impact that piano and music had on my life is incredible, and I really have no idea where I would be or what I would be doing if I had not done that. I like now as a teacher to instill that love of music into other students, and I know what it's done for me, even not just music, but outside in real life, and I hope that they can see that passion from my life and what we work on in class and through ensembles.